Morning, friends. My name is Virender, and I welcome you to my YouTube channel, Cloud Ninja. So, in the last video, in identity and access management, we studied basically the identity part, wherein we covered that what are different users, groups, and roles, and how to use them in AWS Cloud. So, today in the second part, we'll be covering the second part, which is the access management. What are the different parts of access management, and how do we actually control the resources which will be accessed by the different identities which we covered, users, groups, and different roles. So without wasting much time, let's move on to the first slide, AWS Services, Identity and Access Management. So like previously I discussed that in the first video we covered the identity part. Now the second part is access management. It will break up identity and access management. So access management is basically a concept, or you can say a method, wherein we'll be able to give right individuals with the right kind of access whenever it is required, or right kind of access given at the right time to the individuals or to the entities like users, groups, and basically the roles. And if you see this particular diagram on the right hand side, identity and access management, like I said, is divided into two parts. The first one is the identity management. Identity, you can get the idea from the name as well, that wherein we define the digital identity and its life cycle, like users, groups, and different roles which we tried creating in AWS or Amazon Web Services Cloud. The second part which we'll be covering in this video is access management, where we'll be actually managing that how we'll be able to control the AWS resources so that the right individual should be able to access the right kind of resources. And in order to really understand this, you need to understand that, okay, what is the access hierarchy when you log in into the AWS console with your master account. So IAM permission hierarchy works in a way like, so the first one is the AWS account, which we also call as master account, which is created when you log in into the AWS console with the email ID and then all your credit card details. You get a master account. So master account is like an administrator account, which is having the full access to the AWS console, like which services you want to create into the database, network, or any type of other service EC2 instance you want to create. And if we further come down, the permissions generally becomes less, like for IAM user or IAM group, we provide a specific kind of permissions that these kind of users will be able to access database servers only in case they are administrators. We may have created a group for the admins who will be able to access the EC2 servers, as well as you'll be able to create the VPC or the database server. Now let's say you have created a group for the database administrators. We'll be able to access only the database servers like MongoDB, RDS, SQL, MySQL. And the third part it will cover is temporary security credentials. So this is basically is required when we have to give the access on a need basis. Let's say an access is required for an EC2 instance to access the photos from the S3 buckets. In that case, a temporary security credentials will be provided to the EC2 instance so that it should be able to access the images or photos from the S3 bucket whenever it is required. So let's move on to the access management further drill down. Basically, we need to understand that, okay, how much control this identity and access management provided by the AWS gives us or gives to you. So as per the AWS, you'll be able to control that how a user access AWS resources that, and it provides you a fine-grained control access over the resources that you'll be able to control that, okay, this particular user who is a database administrator, he'll be able to log in during this particular time, maybe in the afternoon, in the evening. And this particular user, when logging to the AWS console, this user must use the MFA or the multi-factor authentication to log in. Or we can further implement a policy into that this user should be able to log in from a particular IP address only and should use the SSL connection only when logged into the AWS console. So these are the different kind of policies which you can implement while using the IAM, or AWS IAM allows you to have control over the AWS resources in a much more granular level to have a better security onto the AWS cloud. And the second thing is you'll be also able to manage the federated users and their permissions. When I say about federated users, you'll be able to use your Active Directory accounts along, so that you need not to create the different accounts, users or groups into the AWS console. You'll be able to use, with the help of federated users, you'll be able to use your Active Directory account which you are using within your enterprise to log into the AWS cloud. Similarly, you can use the SAML and auth, whatever the federated identities are there, you can use them to log into the AWS console. And you can use the resources and provide the access whichever is required according to the need. Like you're able to see into the first diagram wherein a federated user tries to get the information from the Active Directory federated service. Then in order to get the access from the AWS resources has a we also call it as STS, and wherein this key information or a temporary credentials, we also call it as security token system, wherein a temporary security credentials will be given to the federated user, and according to that user will be able to access the particular resources from the AWS cloud. It could be S3, EC2 or an RDS instance. In addition to that, we cover the different parts or the identities into the AWS cloud. So IAM is the identity and access management. Identities, like previously discussed, we discussed identities, users are there, groups are there, and roles are there. Now all these identities, what they have to do, let's try to understand. They will be accessing the resources. Resources like they may be accessing S3, EC2, RDS in order to do their work within the enterprise. So in that case, in order to control the access to these resources by the identities, AWS provides us the policies, which actually provides the control or how we want that these federated users should be able to access the different resources like S3, EC2 or RDS. So policies which we attach to users, groups or roles, which actually defines that these particular identities will be accessing what type of resources and when they'll be able to access the resources. So basically, when we are attaching policies to these identities, we are creating a rules for these identities that when they should be able to access the AWS resources and what type of resources they should have access to on need basis or on the basis of least privilege, which generally we implement or use in the security industries or as per the best practice also. So like I previously when I explained, policies basically control the user behavior, that how a user should behave. We want that this user should not be able to write anything into the S3 bucket, or this user should not be able to build up EC2 servers into the cloud. So we can assign those particular users permissions in a such a way that those users should be able to log in onto the EC2 servers. They should not be able to take backup. Maybe other we want that this user should not be able to log in into the S3 buckets or should be able to delete the data from the S3 bucket. So with the help of IAM policies, we control the user's behavior and what type of resources they'll be accessing, to what extent they can make inside the use of AWS resources inside the AWS cloud. Like IAM policies, in simple terms, if I'll explain you, these are nothing but rules or you can say a language, a JSON script, which is basically used by the a number of online portals, as well as you can see that how to write the JSON scripts in the simple language. So JSON scripts looks like this. You can see that this is a JSON script, basically a policy which allows EC2 to allow S3 to get the S3 objects. So if you'll see that, there is a, when you actually open the policy document from, while creating a policy, so you can see the description allow on EC2 instance to get objects from the S3 bucket. So if you see the policy, it says that, okay, version number this, then actual statement it is showing us that effect allow. Here we can, on a different logic, we can also say that deny. And what is it is allowing? That S3 object. And this is the ARN number which is given for that S3 bucket from which we are allowing the access. ARN is basically the Amazon resource number, which we'll be covering in the further subsequent videos. So, like in our previous videos, we try to give you information about the case study, because till the point, we are studying the topic and we are not able to correlate at the, whichever the organizations are there into the AWS or Amazon, which are actually using these services, and how these particular services which are provided by the Amazon, they are helping them. I think we'll not be able to understand better the concept. So in that case, what we are trying as a Cloud Ninja community, we are trying to explain each and every topic with the case study, that how and which organization has implemented this particular service and how they are actually using it, so that you should be able to use that information, and maybe it will be helpful for you as an individual, as a network administrator, or as an entrepreneur to really implement that particular thing in your organization. So the case study which we'll be studying for this identity and access management is the Expedia case study. You might have heard the name of this organization, which is basically into the hotel and luxury travel industry, and it is an online portal. So let me give you a background who actually are not aware that, what kind of business this Expedia does. So Expedia is a leading online travel company providing leisure and business travel to customers worldwide, and it's having a number of other portals into its portfolio, like Expedia.com is there, Hotels.com is there, Hotwire is there, which and the site is available in more than 60 countries. You can see, and there are other travel brands associated with them. So what they actually implemented is that they're having a very strong user base within the Expedia, and they are having their very big Active Directory setup. So when they started using this IAM, it was a big challenge in front of the Expedia, that how they'll be moving all these users from their Active Directory and then create all those users into the Amazon console. So instead of creating and all these things, they actually use the this federated entity. They actually developed an identity federated broker, which actually use the AWS IAM, identity and access management, and STS security token service, which actually eliminates the need to create users within the Active Directory, and with the help of which users are directly logging into their Windows machine, and then they actually browse the identity federation, and they are directly logged into the Amazon console in a very transparent manner. So, this particular federation broker allows the system administrator and developers to use their existing Windows Active Directory account to a single sign-on to the AWS management console, and they need not to create duplicate accounts within the AWS console. And like previously explained, it really helped Expedia to eliminate the need to create all those users in AWS management consoles. And it was difficult for them to maintain the multiple environments where the identities are stored. So, and it is easy for organizations like, for you as well as like it was easy for the Expedia to, let's say when an employee leaves an organization or changes roles, in that case, they need not to do all the changes within the AWS console. So they can just make those cosmetic changes within their Active Directory and they are good to go. And in addition to that, I am from an audit perspective, and I know that how difficult it is when you need to actually govern those activities or implement the governance. In that case, it is really easy as a part of governance where you need not to create the different group policies or enforcement of policies into the AWS console. So you are continue using your Active Directory environment where you have already those group policies and policy enforcement, password policies are there. So in that case, those policies are there, but again, you are able to integrate that thing into the AWS console, which really help the organizations in saving a lot of time and effort, and they actually can spend that money and use that time into the innovation so that they can attract more customers. And maybe you can use this case study if you are a network administrator or a system administrator to give the idea within your organization so that you can get good visibility into your organization as well as save money. So I will say thank you, friends, for watching this video. If you really like this video, so please hit a like button and do share it with your friends so that maximum people should understand what AWS Cloud is and how to take advantage of all the services which Amazon is providing. So friends, thank you again for watching. Please do hit the like button and share it with your friends. Thank you.